Money is always at your fingertips. It's just a matter of how you choose to execute. It's a matter of what your strategy is in order to tap into the revenue that you need for your business. Because again, you as the CEO, it's your priority to consistently make sure that money is always coming into the door. Welcome back to the Seven Figure Educator Podcast. My name is Dr. Erica Jordan Thomas. I'm a former teacher, former principal, Harvard grad, and CEO and founder of EJT Education Group. So y'all, let's jump into this juicy episode because I was like, you know what? I want to do an episode around if I needed an extra $10,000, what would I do? And the reason why I wanted to do this episode is because I wanted to model the type of thinking and skill set that you really have to build as an entrepreneur, where you have got to master the skill and the mindset of being able to generate money whenever you need it or desire it. So part of your responsibility as a CEO is to make sure that money is coming into the door. And you at every single moment have the power to influence money coming into the door. And I was like, what better way to be able to teach the people this and model this is to actually show my thinking as if I needed an extra $10,000 in the next 60 days, what would I do? So let's break it down. Let me first start with what I would not do. Because I've seen some people in this situation and I'm like, okay, you're setting yourself up for some heartbreak and disappointment because you are picking the hardest way or the slowest way to make money when there are so many other pathways you could be taking, but you are picking the hardest way. And that's where that mindset work pops up, folks. That's where this could get tricky, is when you believe that money moves slow or you're used to overworking, you will pick the hardest way to make money. So let me give you a couple examples of this. The first thing I wouldn't do is I would not focus on finding new clients. So there are 3 ways to make money, and I'll talk about that more here in a moment. But the hardest way, not impossible, but the hardest way to make money is to find new clients, because you basically have to convert a stranger who doesn't know you to actually convince them to spend money with you. And we know that spending money with you is a great decision, but if someone doesn't know you, why would I give you money, right? And if I need money in the next 60 days, I'm not going to go to a stranger and have to convince them that I'm an expert when I know I'm an expert. I'm actually going to set myself up easier for the sell, which is why I would not try and find new clients who are strangers who don't know me. The second thing I wouldn't do is create a website, because it's just a waste of time. I only got 60 days to make this 10K. I don't need no website to make this 10K, right? We are talking sense of urgency. We are talking prioritizing, specifically generating revenue generating task. I'm not making no website because a website is not a revenue generating task. And then lastly, I am not going to create a new offer that requires more work. What do I mean by that? If I am trying to bring in 10K over the next 60 days, what I'm not going to do is to sell something that is going to lock me into having to do more work or create something that doesn't exist, or just overexert myself on the back end. I might get the money on the front end, but then I'm promising myself misery on the back end. I'm not doing that. So you really have to think strategically and intentionally around how you are generating this cash that you need on hand. So let's talk about what I would do. So if I need money on hand and quickly, this is what is called a cash injection. So every single entrepreneur should have in their toolkit certain strategies that allow them to infuse cash into their business, generate cash, because that's just the reality of being a business owner. If you need an extra 10K to hire someone, if you need an extra 15K because you want to invest in your business to maybe host your first event, or maybe if you have something going on in your personal life and you need extra money on hand to be able to fund something for your kids, to fund something for your family, to fund something for yourself, if you want to go on a big trip and you want an extra $8,000, you should be able to exercise a cash injection in order to generate the money that you need. And what does not need to be stated, but what I will state, because somebody's going to say it in the comments, we already know that we're providing value, right? So whatever we're selling is going to be able to provide a really, really meaningful result. It's going to provide a meaningful experience and transformation for our clients on the other end. So we know that whatever we would offer to our audience is going to be a quality product. I know we are in the middle of some really good, juicy content, but I wanted to make sure that you knew about my free public Facebook group, which is the opportunity for you to network with other education consultants. Community is so important on your journey, and this is an easy, low-lift way to be able to plug into a community. And so go ahead, click the link below in the show notes to be able to request to join our public free Facebook group so that way you can find your community. Let's get back to the episode. So let me share with you 3 strategies that I would actually execute if I needed an extra $10K in the next 60 days. And when we're thinking about a cash injection, here are my requirements for a cash injection. First and foremost, it needs to be something, like I said, that does not guarantee misery on the back end, meaning I am overcommitting myself to shipping stuff or creating new things or just creating more work on the back end. I'm going to think strategically about this. Secondly, I need my money up front, right? Because that's the purpose of a cash injection. We're not breaking this down into a 3-month, 6-month monthly payment plan. You need to pay up front if this is a cash injection. So this is where you want to be thoughtful of your price point, right? Because if it's a cash injection and you're not going to offer some type of payment plan, then this is where you might begin to be thoughtful of what are you actually providing to your audience for the cash injection. So that way you can offer such to where the only option is to pay up front or to pay in full. So let's actually break down a couple of strategies I would think through. So I mentioned that there's 3 ways to make money. The first way is to find new clients, and that's actually the hardest way to make more money. And as you're growing your business, particularly when you get to the $750K to $1 million plus range in terms of your revenue, annual revenue, you're going to have to master the art of finding new clients, right? But when we're talking about a cash injection, that's not the priority. The priority is not to find new clients. The priority is to generate cash. So the other 2 ways to make more money in your business beyond finding new clients is to reactivate former clients, and or the third is to upsell your current clients. So people who have already worked with you before, who maybe it's been 6 to 12 months since they worked with you, is there a way in which you can continue to serve them? And the fact that they've already worked with you, you've already established and built trust with them to be able to present them with an offer, and they already know you're an expert, right? So when we're talking about what it looks like to actually generate more cash and revenue for your business, you already have hot leads at your fingertips. And those are folks who've previously worked with you in the past 6 to 12 months. You also have your current clients. Is there a way that you could be offering an additional value to your current clients who know how dope you are? They know you're an expert. They know you're amazing. They know you know your ish. You don't have to go through all this convincing of who you are. They already know this. It's simply a matter of presenting the offer in a thoughtful, meaningful way and following up. So the first strategy that I would leverage or potentially consider is there a way for either me to reactivate former clients and or upsell current clients? So upsell could be a additional offer that is an addendum or in addition to how you're currently servicing them. It could be a new offer or package, but again, we're not overcommitting ourselves to additional work. What existing content resources do you have that you could package together to create a new experience for former clients or current clients? So that's strategy number 1. Strategy number 2, going back to all of the content that you have, given all of the content, is there certain content that you can repackage into a really meaningful digital product that you can sell towards your audience? So let's say you have a really great high-performing workshop that folks just loved when you executed on it. Well, you could then take that and turn it into a digital product and sell that digital product to your audience. So let's say I have this module that I decide to repackage into a digital product and I decide to charge $200. Well, I just need to secure 50 people to purchase the digital product and I have my $10,000. Check, done. And then the third and final strategy that I would consider play that I might run is one of my favorite strategies because it's super meaningful but low lift, and that's a strategy session. So I could offer 30-minute strategy sessions or 60-minute strategy sessions. And strategy sessions are basically a way for people to pick your brain and leverage your expertise for a particular amount of time. And you might even decide to do a 3-hour strategy session. That's your prerogative. But I think the important thing that you think through is you think through your pricing strategy. So if I need $10,000, and let's say I decide to charge $500 for my strategy sessions, and again, you determine the time, that just means I need 20 clients to buy. Or if I charge $1,000 for a 2-hour strategy session, then that just means that I need now 10 clients to buy, right? So here's the thing that I want you to take note of with each of these pieces is a strategy session, going back to not overcommitting yourself to work on the back end. A strategy session is a time that can be so meaningful because people have access to knowledge, but you don't have to prepare for a lot of work on the front end or the back end, and it's still super meaningful for your client. Going back to the digital product, we're not creating anything from scratch. We're not now overcommitting to things that now creating more work for ourselves. What are your existing resources that are of value that you can package and provide to your audience? When we're talking about upselling your current clients or reactivating former clients, reactivating your former clients might mean I actually don't need new offers. I'm just going back to my former clients and representing my current offers. And you might decide, hey, this might be a time where if you lock in your deposit, and I know I said this rule of having people pay up front or pay in full, but depending on your offers, and if it's your former client, you might decide and say, hey, if you put in a deposit by this time, I'll grant this bonus. And that bonus could be an additional piece of content. It could be an additional Q&A, additional time with you. Or you might say, if you lock in this particular deposit by this date, this time, then I'll grant you a 10% loyalty waiver to the entire package. So there's lots of different ways that you can maneuver in this situation. And it's my hope that as you're hearing my thinking through this, you can hear the ways in which money is always at your fingertips. It's just a matter of how you choose to execute. It's a matter of what your strategy is in order to tap into the revenue that you need for your business. Because again, you as the CEO, it's your priority to consistently make sure that money is always coming into the door. And that means at any moment, you should have a number of cash injection strategies that you can just turn on in order to infuse cash into your business and still provide a meaningful transformation for your client. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are about this episode. What stuck out to you? What strategy do you want to try? And if you try one of the strategies, let me know how it went. I'd be so curious to know. If you found this episode meaningful, go ahead and subscribe and share it with a friend. I would love for you to leave a review so that way we have your feedback in that way too. And we would just really be appreciative for it. So thank you for joining me on this episode of the 7-Figure Educator Podcast, and we'll see you on the next one.